Hi, this is Deborah Savager with Legal Office Guru. And in today's live stream, we're going to talk some more about styles, how to get rid of those ugly Cambria blue headings permanently, and how something you've seen probably at a recent wedding can help you understand how styles work. If we've not met before, I teach lawyers and other legal professionals how to use Microsoft Office better. And I'm going to share my screen now so we can get on with the presentation and talk about styles some more. But while I'm doing that, actually a couple of things. Some of you in my subscriber list have actually said that you can't access this through Facebook. And so I am going to cross-post these to YouTube once the live stream is over and once I can get it downloaded from the cloud and do a little light editing on it. But I wanted to let you know that these are going to be cross-posted on YouTube. While I'm switching to my PowerPoint presentation so we can get started, let me know in the comments below where you're watching from, what experience you've had with styles, and what kinds of problems that you're having with styles these days. Let me double check and make sure that you're actually seeing that. Yes, you are seeing that. Okay, so welcome to 13-Minute Thursdays. Let me get back to my notes here. And first of all, welcome to this edition of 13-Minute Thursdays. I'm guessing a lot of you are going to be viewing this in replay given the early hour. But regardless of whether you're here live or in replay, just let me know in the comments again how much experience you have with styles and how you assess your skill level, what you assess your skill level to be. How many of you are style ninjas versus style newbies? So let's back up a little bit and talk about what styles really are. Styles are a packaged set of formatting commands you can apply to text all at once, as opposed to applying one attribute at a time, like font style, font size, line spacing, etc. What I'm showing you here is one of the three most basic styles in Word, the normal style. As you can see here, the normal style in my documents is taking the default font, and we'll talk more about that later, single spacing, and fully justifying the paragraphs, putting 12 points of space between each paragraph, and turning on widow orphan control, what you WordPerfect users call block protect. It's also set to show in the styles gallery that list of styles that's shown on the home tab in the styles section. Now, for those of you who are really sick of Calibri 11 point, I've got good news for you. You've probably noticed that I reset my default font in that previous slide, what the normal style in the previous slide was based on, to Times New Roman 12 point. Not the most daring choice typography-wise, I realize, but a perfectly respectable choice for legal documents. This is how I did that. I clicked that little launcher arrow in the font section of the Home tab, that arrow that I've circled in red on the left. You can also use the shortcut key Control-D, found the Times New Roman in the list, selected the regular font style and 12-point size, and then clicked Set as Default, that button in the lower left-hand corner. Here's another example. If you watched last week's video, you may remember the footnote text style I introduced you to. A lot of people attempt to change the font in their document by selecting all of the text and then go into the font menu to change it. Trouble is, if you do that, you leave a lot of document elements like page numbers and footnotes untouched. So your document may be in Times New Roman, but your footnotes, page numbers, all the footer and header stuff, etc., are all still in Calibri. But if you understand how cascading styles really work, you'd opt instead for changing the normal style, so most of the other styles will make the corresponding change. You notice here, for example, that the footnote text style is based on the normal style. That means that everything about the footnote text style is derived from the normal style, except those elements you see in that box on the right. In other words, footnote text is telling Word, I want to look just like normal text, except I want to be 10-point font size and not have any spacing between the paragraphs. You've probably seen one of these at a wedding recently, a champagne fountain. You know the drill. They pour champagne into the top glass and it cascades down into the glasses below. So imagine if I were to pour a whole bottle of bright blue food coloring into the top glasses there. What would happen? The champagne in all of the glasses below would gradually turn a different color as that blue cascades down into the lower glasses. So going back to the footnote text example, because it is based on the normal style, any changes you make to the normal style will cascade down to all of the styles that are based on it, like page numbering and header and footer text. So if someone has sent you a document in a font you don't like, the fastest way to change all of the elements in the document to your preferred font in one stroke is to change the normal style and let those changes cascade down to the other styles. And remember how I showed you in the last video how to change the normal style. It's usually going to be in the Quick Styles gallery on the Home tab, so all you have to do is right-click on it and then click Modify. Doing that will take you straight into the Modify Style dialog box where you can make whatever adjustments you need. Okay, show of hands. Who hates the default fonts in Word? Almost every legal practitioner I talk to is just completely baffled by Word's choice of fonts. Calibri? Cambria? And who decided headings needed to be blue? I think without question the blue headings are just not appropriate for legal documents. You can judge Calibri and Cambria as fonts for yourself. Well, underneath those crazy settings are two styles that are global defaults, plus body and plus headings. And you can actually change those to better suit your documents. Now, this series of screenshots was done in Word 2016, aka the desktop version of Office 365. These instructions are also good for Word 2013. In Word 2010, the Design tab doesn't actually exist, so the instructions for this operation in that version are different. If you need the 2010 instructions, hit me up in the comments below right now, and I'll get those posted as well. Anyway, we're going to start on the Design tab in Word 2016 or 2013, and over on the far right, click on the Fonts button and choose Customize Fonts at the bottom. That's going to bring you to a dialog box called Create New Theme Fonts. We won't get deep into themes today just for lack of time, but here you see what controls plus body and plus heading. If you already adjusted your default font using the procedure I showed you a few minutes ago, that choice will show up here and you're already one step ahead. Just use these drop downs, heading font and body font, on the left to change the font style and click Save. Now let's get rid of that blue heading nonsense. First, I'm going to click Colors on that same Design tab and switch the color scheme to grayscale. That'll at least set most of the text to a normal legal document color. To ensure that heading 2 and heading 3 don't show up blue as well, I'm going to go back to the Colors button and choose Customize Colors at the bottom. Accent 1 controls the font color for heading 2, and Accent 3 controls the font color for heading 3. Use the drop-down to switch both of those to black. Now that you've gotten rid of those ugly fonts and colors, save your work by clicking Set as Default on the Design tab just to the right of the Fonts button. And now you've gotten your default set so every document going forward won't force you to reset all the fonts before you can get going. Okay, so that's the end of this little intro to cascading styles class. My goal here was to explain how cascading styles work so you can understand how the styles interact with each other and use that knowledge to shortcut changes in your documents. But I want to hear from you. What questions do you have about styles? What sorts of problems are you running into? Are you at that I don't even know what to ask stage? Or have you been working with styles and having some problems? I encourage you to leave those questions and comments in the comments section below this video, because I want this series to be driven by what you need, not by what I think you need. Anyway, it is just about time for me to dash off to work. I've enjoyed being with you today, and I hope you've got something useful from today's 13-Minute Thursday. See you next week.